What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with the Mariners post-game video. Before I dive in, if you are new to the channel, hit the sub button. If you are not and you're enjoying the post-game recaps, please hit the like button. Both help me out tremendously. About a little less than half my views are from subscribers on these, so if you are watching and not subscribed, hit the sub button, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content. The Mariners beat the Cardinals tonight 5-4. They win the series, so no matter what happens tomorrow, they do have a series win. They improved to 10-11 on the season. Can't believe we're already 21 games into this. It always feels like such a long season, but at the same time, it's like you blink and you're at game 87. You know, that's always how it goes. It's how it goes in all sports, but sometimes it feels like especially so in baseball. The Mariners improved to 10-11. A win tomorrow would put them at 500, which would be huge. And after a real tough series against Milwaukee, a nice bounce back, and they've guaranteed themselves a winning homestand no matter what happens tomorrow afternoon, which is good. And this is what I talked about. After surviving that road trip 3-3, they come home, they're going to have a winning homestand no matter what happens. You don't need to get it all back at once from that 2-5 start. It just little by little here. Go 5-4 on a homestand. Go 4-3 on a road trip. Eventually you'll add up, and then eventually you'll start playing some teams that aren't as good that you can take advantage of and get sweeps against, like the Rockies. Now, I think the Cardinals are a pretty decent team. They're off to a tough start this year, but I think when the year is all done, they'll be in the mix. Starting with the pitching, like I always do, Luis Castillo went 5, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs, both earned, 2 walks, 8 Ks. Thought he was solid. He certainly wasn't as sharp as he's been. Last week he was phenomenal. He could have easily thrown a perfect game if not for a couple bloops dropping in, so we know how good he was last week. The command wasn't quite there today. I thought he was missing a little bit, especially early with the fastball. Had a lot of pitches in the first inning, and gave up some hits. The walks weren't a problem. Like I said, he had some deep counts where, like I said, he just wasn't his sharpest today. Now, it shows how good a pitcher Castillo is that I didn't think he was particularly sharp today, and he struck out 8 over 5 innings and only gave up 3 runs. And truthfully, had Teoscar Hernandez taken maybe a little bit better route on the Contreras double, now that ball was hit hard, but I thought it was a catchable ball from Teo. Maybe he only gives up the 1 run in the 5 innings. But either way, he gave up a little hard contact today. Listen, this is a really good Cardinals lineup. I talked about it yesterday when I was praising George Kirby. It's a good lineup. So they're going to put pressure on. They've got, Goldschmidt and Arenado alone. Now, they really didn't do a lot of the damage today. Arenado did have a base hit single. But, those 2 guys alone are enough. And you've got a lot of other good hitters in there, too. I thought Burleson really wore out Castillo a little bit today. But he battled. I thought this was a really gutsy performance from Luis Castillo. There was a couple moments where it could have gotten out of hand, and he could have lost the game. When it got to 3-1, in the second inning, there were some guys on. I know I think the fourth, there was a couple guys that reached. The first inning alone, runners at first and third, nobody out. Did get Goldschmidt to pop out, and then Arenado base hit, put runners at first and third. So there were some chances here for this game to get away from Castillo and the Mariners, and could have easily ended up being a 7-1 game, and then that gets out of hand. Your offense isn't going to battle back. And he did a real nice job to keep that in check. So a gutty performance today from Luis Castillo. Not just gutty, he was good. But on top of that, it was a gutsy performance from him as well. And kudos to the offense for battling back and getting him off the hook. Luis Castillo has been the best player on this baseball team this season, and he deserves when he's not 100% on his game to have the offense bail him out. And they did, to their credit, so give them a lot of credit there. The bullpen was good once again. Penn Murphy tossed a scoreless 6th inning with a strikeout. That's good to see. Matt Brash was fantastic in his inning of work. He did hit Burleson. Again, we can see where Brash sometimes that slider and the command isn't always there. That's just going to be what Matt Brash is. It's not always going to be just 10 pitches, 10 strikes, and striking out the side. There's going to sometimes be some command issues in there as well. But he was really good, struck out the side, including Goldschmidt and Arenado. I talked about in my post-game 2 nights ago against the Brewers with Brash's numbers. I talked about how his FIP was at like 1.4 with his ERA at 6.2, and his BABIP was at 5.50. So we knew these numbers were going to come down a little bit. Like his ERA would come down a little bit for Brash, and eventually he'd start having some scoreless outings. So Yeah, Brash is fine. There's nothing to worry about. I said that the other day. It doesn't mean there's not some command issues like we saw. I mean, there is times when that slider gets away from him a little bit, but he is just fine. And he you saw the dominance today. And to get through Goldschmidt and Arenado, striking them both out, was tremendous. Topa, again, gets the job done, gives up a leadoff hit to Contreras, gets the double play, and gets the strikeout. And Paul Sewald locks it down in the ninth. He did give up a home run to Tommy Edman. Sewald's really good at giving up home runs when he's got a multiple run lead. And part of that probably is, Sewald's probably the type of guy. It's like, I got a 2-run lead. I don't care. My job is to end this game with us winning. He gave that home run to Bellinger last week in Chicago. But when he's got a 1-run lead, he locks it in. It's probably more just coincidence that happens, but there probably is a little bit to the way he pitches with the 2-run lead. He probably attacks his zone a little bit more, and then hunkers down a little differently with a 1-run lead. So, and 2 strikeouts as well from Sewald to get to save his 6th. He was tremendous again tonight. So great job by the bullpen. I'll get to the offense, but the bullpen did a nice job backing up Luis Castillo tonight as well. So looking at the offense today, top of the order struggled a little bit. It was a little frustrating early on. They weren't getting really much off of Michaelis. Julio was 0-4, rough game for Julio. He did sting the ball in the 7th inning, I will say that, after Wong and Crawford both walked. So that was good to see, but other than that, some weak contact. Ty France is 0-3. He did walk in his first at-bat, but rough series for Ty. He has not looked very good at the plate this series. I was going to say a rough game for Gino as well. It kind of looked like that, but he did come through in the bottom of the 7th inning with the 2-run single that gave the Mariners the lead that they did not look back on. So I can't knock him. Gino had the winning hit today. It does look like, I talked about it yesterday, ever since he took that shot off the elbow, it does look like, I don't want, he hasn't looked as good since then. It could just be coincidence. Gino's a streaky guy. He's going to strike out a lot, and then he's going to hit 5 home runs in a series. The slugging hasn't quite been there yet for Gino. In fact, let's look at, what's his OPS at this year? 715. So it's been a lot of singles for Gino. I'd like to see some extra base hits, but he delivered a game-winning hit, essentially, so I'm not going to get on him. Cal was 1-for-4 with the base hit. That was the base hit in the 6th inning before Teo tied it up with a home run. If you notice, Cal has not been playing against left-handed pitching this year, and I think it's twofold. I think, one, they are trying to give him more days off because we saw how much he caught last year, especially at the end. I think he caught every inning of every playoff game, too. They're going to do that again this year, especially as we get into the late summer, August, September. He's going to be catching probably almost every game. And I think he's still hurt. I think, and I wonder if hitting right-handed, that wrist injury is affecting him more than swinging lefty. And they're just not having him bat against lefties. But a nice base hit today for Cal, which led to Teoscar Hernandez hitting a home run. He is homer now in both games this series. That tied the game up in the bottom of the 6th. The funny thing was home plate umpire Gabe Morales, the 2-2 pitch, no, the 3-1 pitch to Teoscar was a ball. Actually, the 3-0 pitch looked like a ball too. Morales called it a strike. Teo barked at him a little bit. I think Scott Service did as well. And then the next pitch, Hernandez hits out of the park to tie it up. So a happy accident, thanks to courtesy of home plate umpire Gabe Morales. And he was bad all around tonight. He gave Sewald a couple calls against Carlson in the top of the 9th that were bad. So not a good day for umps. Listen, I'm not against the umpires. They're human beings. They're trying to do everything they can. That they're not trying to miss calls. It's hard. Trust me. I've umped Little League before, and it's not easy. And those are kids throwing 42 miles per hour, not 99 with breaking movement. But there needs to be some kind of, I'm in favor of the robot umps. Let's just get it right and get those in there. But Teo hits the home run that ties up. Jared Kelenic 2-for-4 with an RBI. He had a home run as well, the opposite way to left field in the 2nd inning. Kelenic came to play today, and then a ringing double. For a while there, he was the only guy hitting Michaelis out there. So good to see the power stroke back for Kelenic. Had a little bit of a tough series against Milwaukee. I wasn't worried. He was still hitting the ball pretty hard. He was having good at-bats. So there was nothing that was concerning. Listen, you're not going to hit home runs every series. Every player is going to have a rough series. And that's why it's so important that Kelenic got off to that hot start. Because now if he has a series where he's 2 for 11 or 1 for 10. No one's really batting an eye at it because he's been so good. So it's why it was so nice to see Jared Kelenic get off to the hot start that he's been off to. AJ Pollock, 1 for 4, had a double. I'll take it. I think Pollock's kind of cemented himself as the DH here, at least until some form of Dylan Moore, Taylor Trammell, Cade Marlowe get up here. I think Pollock will get most of those at-bats. Mariners did make a roster move today. Sam Haggerty was brought up. Cooper Hummel was sent back down. I know some people wanted Tommy La Stella DFA'd. I didn't really care either way. Listen, Cooper Hummel has options. You can send him down. Tommy La Stella doesn't. Now I know some of you are sitting there going, well, who cares Tommy La Stella's options? Just release him. They're human beings, and teams don't like to do that if they don't have to. Most front offices are that way. They won't release a guy. Now, if tomorrow Taylor Trammell's ready to come up or something happens and Dylan Moore's ready to come up, yeah, Lostello's probably the next guy to go. Eventually they'll get to that point. But if they don't have to release somebody, they usually won't. And most, like I said, most front offices are like that. They're not, because listen, like I said, we're dealing with human beings here. And, it just like in your work, if you've got a situation where firing a guy or maybe moving a guy somewhere else, you're probably going to move the guy first before a firing happens. So Lostello's going to be off the roster soon enough. Don't worry about it. Cooper Hummel just had options, so at this point it was the easier move to make. But yeah, nice job by AJ Pollock. 1 for 4, nothing fancy, but did have a double. Colton Wong was 0 for 2 with a walk. Nice walk. It started the rally in the 7th inning. I'll take anything I can get from Colton Wong right now. His first at-bat, he did hit the ball hard a little bit. He had a foul ball that was hit pretty well off Michaelis, and then his fly out was hit somewhat well. Listen, I'm looking for any positives I can right now for Colton Wong, and the walk was against the lefty. Like I said, it started a rally for the Mariners, which ended up winning them the game. I will take it. I will take any signs that he may be coming out of it. Whereas a guy like Cooper Hummel, Tommy La Stella, that can either be sent down or in La Stella's case be DFA'd eventually, I don't really care. Colton Wong needs to be good. The Mariners need him to be good. There are not a lot of options for this team at second base. So Colton Wong isn't going to go anywhere. He is going to be on this roster. So it is important for him to keep hitting. Yeah, you could put Haggerty there, Dylan Moore, if and when he gets back, but we don't even know if that's happening now. So yeah, they need Colton Wong to be good. Nice game for JP. I feel like I say it every day, and it's not like JP's killing it this year or anything. If you watch my post-game recaps, you'd probably think JP Crawford's an MVP candidate. But 1 for 2 with a walk. His base hit was in the 7th inning, which again started the rally for the Mariners, or kept it going after Colton Wong's walk. And then he walked in, might have been the second. I think it was in the 2nd inning, and gave Julio a chance to come up. Maybe it was in the 3rd. I don't remember what inning it was. But, JP does a nice job when there's runners on and Julio's hitting behind him of working that count and getting on base to give their best hitters a chance. And, kudos to JP for that. That's what you want out of a 9-hole hitter. Just turn that lineup over. Unfortunately, like I said, the top of the lineup was kind of weak today. But, JP was fine. Again, nothing. I would like to see maybe a little more power. I haven't even seen him hit a ball to the warning track this year, so there hasn't been a lot of slugging going on with JP this season. And I know he's capable. He had 8-9 home runs last year, so he is capable of hitting it out of the park. So I would like to see a little bit of extra base hits out of him, but if he's going to be kind of a walk machine with the occasional hit sprinkled in out of the 9-hole, I'll take it. Thought the Mariners against Miles Michaelis today, crazy to think the Cardinals only have 2 quality starts out of their stars. No, I don't put much stock into a quality start. It's based on innings and ERA, which can be misleading numbers, but it is crazy that they only have 2 of them. I was a little worried facing Michaelis today just because his peripherals are decent. He's not a bad pitcher. I view him as kind of a middle-of-the-rotation guy, and his ERA was sitting there like 8.3. Those guys are always scary to face because he's not going to run an 8.3 ERA this year. That's going to come down. Eventually, these guys are going to have quality starts. And the other side, like Luis Castillo, as dominant as he's been, he's not going to run a .79 ERA this season either. So both those numbers did come back a little bit. Castillo's ERA went up to, I think, like 1.52, and Michaelis's went down to 7.46. Mariners did have some rough ABs on him in the middle of the game. I was getting a little frustrated with it. They just, that curveball just seems to be. It's been an issue with a lot of pitchers this year. The curveball seems to be giving the Mariners fits. But thanks to Teoscar Hernandez hitting the 2-run home run, they were able to chase Michaelis, get him for 3 earned runs, and then get into the bullpen. Drew some walks against Thompson, put some pressure on, and then Gallegos ends up giving up the hit to Gino. So just enough. The Mariners did just enough. Against a pitching staff that's struggling, yeah, maybe you'd like to see a little bit better in the middle there, but this is kind of what we expected from the Mariners offense. It's not going to be the 27 Yankees, but it's not a bad offense either. And this is kind of what we want from them. This is what we got. Like, Gino has the clutch hit. Teo adds a home run. Yeah, there's some moments where we could just go, oh, with this team, which was last year too a little bit sometimes with the offense. But there's just enough in there, and the pitching should be good enough that they can win. And this is that exact type of game that the Mariners were kind of built to win. This is how it was drawn up for them to win, if that makes any sense. Maybe, in the drawing board, Castillo goes more 6 or 7. You know what I mean? But this was kind of how... This is a Mariners win, if that makes any sense. And I think you guys know what I'm getting at with that. So, like I said, some power, some walks, and the offense doing just enough. So a good win for the guys. Like I said, back to 10-11, sort of getting rid of some of the bad vibes from the Brewers series. This homestand's been like this. The Rockies swept by the Brewers, and now on the verge of hopefully sweeping the Cardinals. Mariners certainly had a disadvantage tomorrow in the pitching matchup. What is it tomorrow? It is... I say that, now I can't remember what the pitching matchup is. Jack Flaherty goes for the Cardinals. He's back from injury, but he's off to a nice start with a 2.95 ERA. I saw something on the Root Sports broadcast that he had 17 strikeouts and 17 walks. Does he really have 17 walks this year? That number can't be right. There's no way he has 17 walks. Sorry, I just noticed this. I saw it there. Does he... Really? I'm looking into this. There's no way he's walked 17. There's no possible way. Because that's, maybe 417 Arizona. He walked 3 in 6 innings. Walked 6, 7, 10. I mean, maybe he has. He's really walked that many batters in 21 innings. I'm sorry for the super random off the cusp analysis right here. I just happened to, I saw it on Root when they showed the pitching matchup. And I thought it was a misprint, but that is a lot of walks. And I'm in a tangent here of now looking at Jack Flaherty's numbers. So, yeah, I mean, he's walked a lot of guys, it looks like, apparently, keeping the ERA low. So hopefully that's something the Mariners can capitalize on if he gets a little wild. Flexen goes for the Mariners. Flexen hasn't been good this year. I mean, honestly, he's been okay in 2 of the starts. The Cubs starts inflating that ERA, so hopefully he can get his first win tomorrow. The Mariners can get back to 500 with a day off before heading on a road trip. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like I said, hit like, hit subscribe. Apologize for the little ending there of looking at Flaherty's numbers. It just caught me off guard. I had to check that. So the Mariners get a nice W today and get a series win. I will see you guys tomorrow. And as always, go M's. Peace.